Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Dialyn already received hotfix changes, adjustments, you name it. I already predicted, and pretty much most of us already kind of knew that she will definitely receive some changes, and the changes happened relatively fast. We also have a bit of information regarding Yishung Wang, supposedly what she might end up doing, which also seems to be quite interesting. But first, we're going to go over these Dialyn changes. Here is a quick list of these changes, but there's actually a bit more into this. We do have some extra clarifications from Leifa as well. So the primary thing that has been changed is the critical damage requirement has been effectively nerfed, you could say. So you'll need 180% critical damage to gain 100 impact, but it should not be a problem, definitely if you do have a signature W engine to get that critical damage. The additional critical damage for her 4th X special attack, which had a high multiplier, also has been reduced, and also additional motion values for X special attacks have been changed, and specifically for how it scales with Rapture stuff. We'll go more in detail right now. We have several clarifications. So basically, the critical damage, like I already said, it's gonna be 180% if you want to get 100 impact. Also, now while in combat, you will slowly accumulate 0.8 rally per second. This already has been changed again. So now I believe the number is 0.6 per second, but it's still very good because they also changed the cost of the rally itself. We'll get to that very shortly. But before that, I would like to let you know that a lot of you guys who watch me are not subscribed. If you'd like to support this small channel, feel free to subscribe. It's completely free of charge. Smile. And now let's continue with the video. So there is also a bit of extra clarification here, specifically for her X special attack, rock, paper, scissors stuff, and also ultimate do also accumulate rally. However, it seems that all attacks when hitting enemies generate rally based on her attack data stat. So this would drastically change how you do get this rally, potentially way more. Also, the Inspire effect, which is the buff that provides increased 50% damage for your ally who went into the battle through this quick assist, will still have this nice 50% damage boost for 30 seconds. This has not been nerfed or touched upon at all whatsoever. The multiplier scaling for X special attack, martial salute, critical damage specifically, well, it's actually critical damage increase, has been also effectively nerfed. Now the values are 10, 10, 20%, so 10 for X special, 10 for chain attacks, and 20 for ultimate, goes up to a maximum increase of 60%. I mean, it's still very strong. Before it was more ridiculous, I guess. And the damage multiplier of this attack, the additional damage though, the scaling of it has been changed specifically for sheer force. Now it's 1100%. This is basically done to make it more in line with attack agents, I assume. So it should be much more closer to attack agents. Some people are also speculating because of this change that Dialyn might be for Yishung Wang, and that Yishung Wang might be a Rapture damage dealer, not an attacker, because of this change specifically, which is not really impossible. I mean, it is possible, but they could also provide the counter argument that perhaps they make her more lean into Rapture teams, and then Yishung Wang is an attack agent that wants her own package teammates instead outside of Dialyn. Or it could be like a situation we had with Yanagi and Miyabi, where she ends up being okay with the Void Hunter, but then later down the line we actually get a better option for her. We do also have a couple of extra changes as well, specifically for her signature W engine. The Mist typo, which was 600 per second energy regen, has been obviously changed. Now it's 1.5 per second, which I think it's still way too good. It's effectively double of 0.6, which is what we normally have. I assume it's gonna drop to 0.6 energy. Everything else seems to be pretty much more or less the same, with the physical attacks increased days. Do note it has to be physical attacks, so this is kind of like a quite restrictive W engine. There is also further clarification information regarding her W engine, specifically the critical damage buff. There might be a critical damage buff after using an ultimate, which would last for 15 seconds and be 30%. However, it's not currently written in the description of the weapon, but it seems to function regardless and provide this buff when using this weapon. So now we're not sure with this weapon functionality whether it's like a mistypo, it's an old data, it's not meant to be anymore, and it just still does it, or they just forgot to write the description and this is the actual thing it provides. Obviously, if the weapon does provide a 30% critical damage boost after a squad member activates an ultimate, this would be obviously super powerful because it would increase their critical damage by 30%, so the squad member that does activate the ultimate, so effectively anybody in the team would get a nice 30% critical damage boost, which is very nice. But do know that for Dialyn, her impact gain from critical damage comes from initial critical damage stat, not from these buffs, and so on. It's not gonna count, just as a heads up. We do also have a bit of further big clarification, and specifically what makes Dialyn super strong. Even after all of these changes, which you could consider nerfs, she received, I don't know if this is like always meant to be like this, but this information effectively makes the character super bonkers, super strong, okay? Basically, her rally, which originally we thought it costed 120 rally to convert the chain attack into an ultimate, it's actually 80 rally, not 120. This changes a lot because you will get to spam more ultimates this way by converting them from chain attacks, and the 120 is basically a 40 points over cap. So also have like a nice over cap system, but it actually costs 80. That's why 0.6 rally generation and all that stuff makes more sense with 80 rally cost. And also as a clarification from my previous video, I did misunderstood one part. Dialyn doesn't force the chain window, she simply forces your character that would do normally the chain attack to become an ultimate if you have enough rally points and that stuff. Just as a heads up. But basically for Dialyn, she's still very strong, and if you ask me, she pretty much power creeps Jufu Fu. She's the best stunner wherever you can slot her in as a stunner. Very strong option. Should work in all kinds of attack and rapture teams, just as a heads up. We're not entirely certain how well she's gonna work with the upcoming Void Hunter. We'll have to see as we get more information regarding that one, but it's still a very strong character even after all of these changes. We also do have a bit of extra information as well regarding the new drive disc sets. It looks like in 2.4 there's not gonna be any new drive disc sets. I highly suspect they're gonna add them in 2.5 patch instead, because that's where Yishung Wang comes out and they're like, you know, give the new set for the new character, Void Hunter that is. It's very likely going to happen. I mean, Yishung Wang and Miyabi, I believe, also received their new sets on the same patches they were released, so it kind of makes sense. That's probably what they're trying to do. And here, as you can see, the rally has been changed from 0.8 to 0.6 rally percent, like I already mentioned earlier, and Dialyn ultimate rally generation is 0.9, which makes sense. The 15.9, that was a weird number, but at the same time, do remember that her rally points, it's 80, not 120 that's needed, so I think this is overall very good, very nice for this character. And now I would also like to talk about Yishung Wang. We do have a bit of like mechanic snippet from a tutorial text about her. So basically in 2.4 looks like we get to play in some form Yishung Wang. Probably not the full playable version of the character. However, this test trial version of the character has this capability. Tap the support attack button, Yishung Wang will enter the front field and release enhanced special skill to attack the enemy. After releasing it, the support character will enter the cooldown time. So if you're familiar with this is basically the tag assist from Lost Void. Personally, I don't like this tag assist mechanic, because if you pick this buff or whatever you call it, the gear in Lost Void, it effectively replaces your character swap button, spacebar on your mouse and keyboard, to do the tag assist instead. It can be a bit clunky because it's like, okay, wanna do a parry, a block with my character, but then the tag assist is triggered and I have to do the tag assist beforehand, right? Because it's on the same button. It basically overrides the character swap parry button, which it's kind of weird. And I genuinely don't think this is how Yishung Wang will end up being played. But if it does, I would not be surprised if it's gonna be on another button or automatic, or they're gonna change the button or something. Because right now, tag assist button being shared with the character swap button is very inconvenient, let's put it that way. But I also highly speculate that Yishung Wang will probably be a physical attacker agent. She could also be Rapture, of course, because you can look at the upcoming Deadly Assaults, shield defenses that you have in 2.4 patch, specifically the ending ones that will also overlap in 2.5 patch. From my understanding, they seem to be quite Rapture shield, but do know that this stuff is very highly subject to change. It's very highly subject to change, so they could also change it last minute or later down the line to make it more attack friendly or whatever. So if that happens, for example, then it would be more obvious to me that she ends up being an attacker, but we'll see how it goes, because once again, the lineups of the future content in Deadly Assaults and stuff like that, they have already been changed before throughout the betas or the buffs and stuff like that, so don't take it as like, oh, it has to be like that no matter what. It's very highly subject to change. But yeah, guys, I would say these are pretty much all of the new information, hotfix changes regarding Dialin, and a bit of Yishung Wang information. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like and all that stuff, smile. And if you have any questions, like to add anything yourself, feel free to write it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day and see you in the next video. Ciao!